Because you have to solve for both x and y, it doesn't really matter. But we're gonna solve this second equation for y, and that's I guess where I'd like you to start. Can you solve this for y?
Okay. I got 550 equals 7.25x minus 52.75.
Okay, so I was trying to get you to solve the simpler equation for y. Maybe it wasn't clear on that, but I wanted you to solve this one, the x plus y equals 8 for y, because that's the simpler one. That's the one that's easier to get y by itself. So what I was asking you is just subtract x from both sides and get y equals 8 minus x.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you always go to the simpler one first. Is that okay? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is the substitution part. This is the, okay, I'm going to take that 8 minus x, and wherever I see a y, I'm going to plug it in for y. So it's 7.25x plus 5.5 parentheses 8 minus x equals 52.75. So you're literally replacing. That's the substitution part.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now from here, and you can just copy along here, and it becomes a lot of writing, but it's you're going to take this 5.5 and multiply it by both. So this ends up being 44 minus 5.5x equals 52.75. Okay. And then from this line, this is one of those skills that you learned last semester. You combine like terms.
Yeah.
So if you need some time here to get caught up, let me know. But you got to be able to combine 7.25x minus 5.5x. That's 1.75x.
Okay.
Plus the 44 equals 52.75. So subtract 44 from both sides. 1.75x equals 8.75. And hopefully this works out. And it does. So when you divide both sides by 1.75, you get x equals 5. But this is only half the answer. Okay, this is only whatever x is. And if you didn't use the like variables that mean anything, you have to go back and look like, well, what's x? Well, x is the number of adult tickets. Okay, so you also need the number of student tickets. And you have a choice. You can go back to either equation. Hopefully this is something you heard in class. You can go back to either equation. You get 1 or 2, use the simpler one, use the easier one. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, so we know that. Go ahead.
Wouldn't you just plug 5 in for where x is for
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And you can show your work or not, but that is your final answer.
Yeah.
Some teachers are very particular. They're like, we want a sentence at the end. We want you to write out something that's, but I'm good with like 5 adult, 3 student. Like I understand what you're trying to say here.
Yeah.
So I feel like we could have done an easier problem to start out. Now that I realize what we're doing. Can we do number 4 next? Because I think it will be much easier.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We probably will have time to do all of these, but
Mhm.
the order matters.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4 says the sum of two numbers is 24. Okay, so two numbers, again, you want to use variables for this. X and Y are really the best ones to use in general, but if you don't like X and Y, you can use others.
Mhm.
What math operation is a sum? What does that refer to?
Addition.
Addition. So we're saying X plus Y is 24. All right, now their difference is 2, and this is where you got to decide, well, which is the larger number? Because let's say the two numbers, and I'll just pick, we'll just give you the answers here. Let's say it's 11 and 13. Okay,
Mhm.
you got to decide, well, is X going to be the 11 and Y the 13? And here's why. Is it X minus Y equals 2, or is it Y minus X equals 2? And your
Mhm.
answer to this tells me which one is larger. Okay,
Mhm.
like if you want to use the second one, which is fine, you're saying that Y is the larger of the two.
Uh,
So what do you say here? What um do you want X to be the larger or Y to be the larger?
I think Y.
Okay, so you might even denote that. You might say Y is the larger, X is the smaller. So then your second equation is Y minus X equals 2.
Okay.
And now my question to you is the second equation, is it in standard form?
No.
It is not. The standard form requires X to come first and then Y. There's also a little bit of an important part where X is actually positive. But what I think you want to do when you're writing these equations is you really want to write them in where you have X first and then Y. So the second equation can be rewritten as minus X plus Y equals 2.
Mhm.
And I'm going to bring that next equation down for this. So in terms of part A, I should be clear here. This is all that's needed for part A.
Okay.
We're on to part B now.
Okay.
Okay, do you have this down up to this point?
Yes.
Okay, now when you have a system of equations like this, you're going to learn when do I use substitution and when do I use elimination? And the
Mhm.
answer is depends on what you see here. So you eliminate or you add the equations when one is opposite the other. Like see
Yeah.
how when minus X and X, if you were to add those together, we're going to do
Yeah.
that, they cancel.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's one reason to use elimination. So this is 2y equals 26. Divide by 2. All right, so y equals 13. And then you have a choice. You can go back to either the first or the second equation and find the value of X. So it doesn't matter to me, probably the first one, X plus Y equals 24. Y is really 13. So X is 11.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna look at 5 next because it's really similar to 4. Really, really,
Mhm.
really similar. And we're gonna switch from using X and Y. We'll use R and K for our variables. And you can use uppercase variables if you want. I'd like you to write the two equations.
Okay.
It's really similar to 4. Okay, so if you need to go back and look at that one, I can scroll up if needed, but let me know when you've written your system down, please.
Okay. I got R minus K equals 12.
Okay, what's the next one?
Um, for number or for B, or is
No,
there two?
so here's what system means in this problem. System means two equations. You're going to give me two equations. You've only given me one.
Okay, so is it K minus R equals 12?
Okay, so I'm not. Sometimes I don't answer your question. Here's what you just did, and this is correct. You gave me this part of that equation you gave me is that one.
Mhm.
But if you keep reading,
Oh, I see.
there's a bit more.
Okay. So R plus K equals 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I want you to add the two equations together. Oh, so sorry. So that's I'm being bad here. This is part A. Like A is done. Yay. Okay. Maybe box it in so your teacher knows. Part B is to solve them. And like
Mhm.
A always leads to B. They're just kind of like sequencing you through the steps here. I want you to solve the system here by adding the equations together. Okay. Now when I say solve the system, you've got to give me both R and K when you're done.
Okay. I got R equals 31 and K equals 19.
Okay, so now what you would want to do on the test, like if you had time and you got done, you'd want to go back and say, okay, does this actually work? Like it in terms of the words, like is their difference 12? Yes. And do these two numbers add up to 50? Yes, they do. Okay, like it's just a way of like, all right, do they work out? And they do. Perfect. Awesome.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, so let's go back and do number two.
Mhm.
Okay, so I alluded to this in sorry about that. Let me get this maximized again. I alluded to this in problem A. If you're ever unsure like what the variables are, they always ask you for the variables. How many $1 bills and how many $5 bills? Those are your two variables.
Okay.
Okay. And it really does help because you know what you're looking for. It's the number of $5 bills. Right. So now we'll go back and read. Harvey has some $1 bills and some $5 bills. In all, he has 6 bills. So there you go. That's your total. I apologize, technology. Okay. That's your total equation or your quantity equation. Okay. And then the second part here, worth $22, that's your price or money equation.
Mhm.
Okay. So the quantity one's usually pretty straightforward. It's that X plus Y at equals 6.
Mhm.
The money equation is kind of like number one. It's the face value of the bill, which in this case is 1 times
Mhm.
X plus the face value of the bill Y, 5Y equals 22. Any questions on how we set that up?
Um, mm, I'm just trying to like, so it's so for that equation, it's $1 bill plus the $5 bill.
It's $1 is the face value times the number of $1 bills. X represents the number of $1 bills.
Okay.
And then 5 is the value of the $5 bill.
Hmm.
Y is the number of $5 bills.
Okay.
Okay, now in your world, a similar problem would be like, and I don't know, we have to should probably change the numbers, but it'd be like Austin makes 2-pointers and 3-pointers.
Hmm.
In all, he made 10 shots.
Hmm.
So it's like your 2-pointers and your 3-pointers, you took 10 of those in a game and you made 10 in a game. But we
Okay.
also know that you had 22 points. I don't know if that's a good number or not on in terms of this, but you got 2 points for every 2-pointer you made
Hmm.
and 3 points for every 3-pointer you made.
Okay.
Like if you make 5 10-pointers, that's 10. 2 times 5 is
Yeah.
10. 2 3 or 4 threes, that's 12. So
Okay.
maybe we'll make this 9. That actually worked out nicely. But that's the idea here. So it's the face value, and I'm just writing the 1. You wouldn't normally put the 1 there, but it's the face value times the number. Face value meaning what's on the actual face of the bill,
Hmm.
uh, like that.
Okay.
So that's your system. Okay.
Hmm.
So really there's kind of like an A between B part here, which is what method should you use to solve? And my question to you, I guess, is does anything stand out to you? Like would you use, and typically it's substitution or it's elimination. Does anything stand out to you here to use?
Well, if you could use elimination and times like one of them by -1.
I agree. Why don't we do that? Why don't we multiply the first one by -1?
Okay.
So you're changing the signs of everything. -x, -y, and -6.
Hmm.
So I'd like you from here to solve for x, and then solve for y, and then solve for x, please.
I got x equals 2 and y equals 4. I can't hear you.
Hey, Austin, sorry about that. I'd muted myself. I was asking you if this was reasonable in the context of the problem, and it is. Like it completely is. Okay.
Mm.
Like 2 bills, that's $2. 4 bill, $5 bills, that's 20. Yeah, that works. Like it's
Mhm.
always good to go back and look. Now, what if you'd gotten x as -2? for some reason. Okay. Is that possible? Can you get -2 bills?
No.
No. So sometimes the word problems are easier because you know if you're on the right track with your answers, because you have some idea like what is possible or not. Here.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to jump over to side 2. If we got time, we'll come back to the ones we've missed. Want to make sure we get a good sampling of everything.
Mhm.
And let's go to 7. 7's a little bit different. Have you been watching a lot of football this weekend, or you?
Yeah, we've watched it's out in the living room right now. We've been watching them.
Yeah, it's hard not to get away from the screen, but yeah, um, there's always more games next weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Number 7. We could read the question, but I would again say, okay, part B says the price of the gloves and the hats. Okay. And that again, that tells you what your variables are. Your variable isn't how many this time,
Mhm.
it's the price. So in some classrooms, they actually want you to write out the variables and say G is the price of gloves. H is the price of hats. It does a couple of things for you. The first thing it does is it makes it really clear to you what the variable actually is.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's easy to mistake in what the variable is in these problems. Your
Mhm.
teacher also wants to know that you actually know what the variable is. So writing a few words does that.
Mhm.
Okay. So if we go back to this situation here, it says at a sale on winter clothing, Cody bought 2 pairs of gloves and 4 hats for $43.
Mhm.
Okay. And so you have to know from experience that price times quantity, meaning whatever it costs times how many of you buy, that's your total.
Mhm.
But this time the price is the variable. So it's like G times 2, because you
Mhm.
bought 2 pairs of gloves, plus H times 4 is 43.
Yeah.
That's a little awkward because we want the number to come before the variable, but it's,
Mhm.
if you write it out this way, you can just say, okay, it's 2G plus 4H equals 43 in the next line. You can rewrite it. What I'd like you to do now for line 2 is describe Tori's situation. Give me the equation for Tori, please.
Okay.
Take as much time as you need to get that figured out.
I'm a little confused on this part.
Okay. So how much, what is the price of a gloves? What is the price of gloves in our problem?
Um,
What did we use to represent the price of gloves?
G.
G. So you start with a G. Now, how many gloves did Tori buy?
2.
Okay. Plus. Now, the same question, except it's now with hats. What did we use to represent the price of hats?
H.
H. And how many hats did she buy?
2.
And she spent $30.
Mhm.
So again, it's better to put the number before the variable. 2G plus 2H equals 30. So your system of equations, I'll have to grab another color here, is these two lines here. This is your system.
Mhm.
Part B is to solve the system. So I'm gonna rewrite it. Let me know when you get this down. Um, I'm gonna need to go down a little bit to solve this.
Okay.
All right. What do I want to do here? Okay, let's do that. Whoa, that'll work. Okay, so let me clear out some of this stuff, extra stuff that we don't need. All right, so this is your system.
Mhm.
We looked at one like this a little bit earlier. G is kind of the same because it's got a 2 and a 2, and they're both positive. And in this case, you want to multiply one of them by -1. So I'm going to suggest we do the top. There is no right or wrong answer here. They both work. But we're going to put that answer down here below. -2G minus 4H equals -43. Okay, I'd like you to solve this for H for me, please.
Okay. So I got -2H equals -13.
Okay, that's great. That's a great start, but I
So
want the
that
final answer. Yeah, give me the final answer
so
for
then
math.
once you would divide by 2 from into the 13, wouldn't it be like a decimal or something?
It is, but help me out here. What is the number in front of H? What is the entire
Neg
number in front of it?
negative
Yes,
2.
-2. Okay, now here's what you're thinking. You're thinking H represents quantity, but what does H represent?
The price?
And can price be a decimal?
Yeah.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Now, if you have a calculator handy or you want to use a calculator, I have no problem with that. If you
Okay.
need to grab one, but we want to use the just like basketball, have your right stuff out, if you're going to play. So give me that final answer, please. Whenever you got it.
For that one, I got -6.5.
Can't be negative. It's a price.
Oh yeah, 6.5.
Yes. $6.50, which pretty low for price of a hat. I don't know if you've bought one lately. That doesn't sound anywhere near how much a hat would actually cost.
Mhm. So now I should do the other part.
Yeah. Now we got to decide which equation to use. So let me see if I can grab them here. We've got two equations. And it's like there's not really a right or a wrong. Sometimes there's a preference. Like sometimes one looks better. I'm not
Mhm.
sure one looks better here. So I want you to decide. Do you want us to use the first one or the second one to solve?
Um, Probably the second one.
Yeah, if I were to make a preference, it probably is that. So you're going to take this value and plug it in for H.
Okay.
2G plus 2 times 6.5 equals 30. And I want you to solve this for G, please.
Yeah. I got 8.5.
Yes. Okay. Now, some instructors are really picky. They want you to say that it's $6.50 with the dollar symbol for a hat. Some, want the same thing for the glove.
Mhm.
Please, your teacher, you know what to expect. Please,
Yeah.
keep that in mind as you're working through it.
Mhm.
All right, let's do 10.
Okay.
And whatever time we have left, we will work on others. But this is, I'm skipping the ones that I think you can almost guess and check the answer because it helps you to know if you solved it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Just a moment here to get that snipped in. Okay, here we go. Okay, Trisha and Brian are washing and vacuuming cars to raise money for a class trip. Trisha raised $38 washing 5 cars and vacuuming 4 cars. Brian raised $28 by washing 4 cars and vacuuming 2 cars. Write a system of equations. All right, so Austin, I want you to look at part B and tell me what each variable or what the variables are and what they represent, please.
Okay.
And you can pick the letter that you want us to use or use X and Y.
So it would be 38x and 28y.
Okay, what I'm asking you is to read part B and use that to tell me like, what does X represent? X is what? X is
X is like the amount of like how much they're charging them
the price for what though? Be more specific. Price for,
for washing the or
yes.
vacuum car. So
Well, which one? You got to choose. There's a price for washing and then,
wash
okay, and
X
then,
is for washing and Y is for vacuuming.
yes. It's like, I don't know if you get your hair cut, it's like X is the price of the haircut, Y is the price for the shampoo or something,
Mm-hmm.
if you want. Like maybe it all feels like it's like here, it's like, well, they're washing, so it's the price for washing. They're divvying it up.
Okay.
Okay. Now, to write the equations, okay, it's price times quantity. Quantity means how many equals total. So when you said 38, that was the total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this equation for Trish raised $38 washing 5 cars and vacuuming 4 cars. That 38 is the total.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to equal 38.
Okay.
You have to write the left side, price times quantity for each. Okay, so start with the price for washing. What represents the price of washing?
X
X times, how many did they wash?
5.
5. So you could say X times 5
Mm-hmm.
plus, what is the price for vacuuming? What represents that?
28
That's
or
different equation.
Y. Yeah, Y.
Why? Okay. And how many cars did they vacuum?
4.
4. So I'm trying to get you to see is that the part in yellow, highlighted in yellow, is this equation.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to read that sentence to yourself one more time that's highlighted in yellow. Look at what I've written down. Tell me if there's anything that's unclear to you about that.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay, so you can even think of this as the Trisha equation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now I want you to do the Brian equation. And I'll highlight that. It's exactly the same, but with different numbers, meaning it's the same. It's got a total, it's got a price and a quantity for both washing and vacuuming. Tell me what to write. Tell me what goes next here.
I would do X times 4
Okay.
plus Y times 2 equals 28.
Good. Okay, so this is pretty close to being correct. Your teacher probably wants to see the number before the variable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your A.
Mhm.
Your B is to solve this system. And this is probably the hardest one that we've had to do up until now. So let me know when you get up to this point. We'll talk about how to solve it.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just rewriting the system. System's
When it's
been,
like this, wouldn't you multiply like both equations to get them to be able to use substitution?
it,
Or I
it,
mean,
yeah, it has that appearance. What you're looking for is that none of the coefficients match.
yeah.
But what you might see, or you will see here, is that the two can go into 4.
Hmm.
So if you multiply the second equation by -2, and this is where I don't know how much of the systems you've covered to know this, but this, by doing this, by multiplying the second equation by -2, you're going to get a -4y instead of a 2y.
Hmm.
And so we're going to do that. So we're going to write -8x minus 4y equals minus 56. And it's really, really important that you rewrite the system like this.
Hmm.
So I'd like you to try solving this system for x. Let me know what you come up with.
Okay. For the first part, I got y equals 6.
Wait, you can't be solving for y in this one because what the y's cancel. Maybe,
Or
maybe you meant x, but the y's cancel.
yeah, I accidentally wrote x.
Okay. So yeah, x is 6.
Mhm.
Okay, now I'm just gonna jump in and have you use the second equation.
Mhm.
I'd like you to solve that for y, please.
Okay. I got y equals 2.
Y equals 2, perfect. Okay. Now in the context of the problem, you'd want to say that the price for washing a car is $6
Hmm.
and the price for vacuum a car is $2 as your like final thing.
Hmm.
Uh, is your teacher asking for that, or are they just asking for the numbers at the end?
Um, I don't think he would care if we wrote just y equals or x equals, but maybe
Maybe
yeah,
ask. Yeah,
I
maybe
would
that's
do
a good question. You know, it shows engagement, shows that you're thinking about this, and
that. Hmm.
sometimes other students have that same question. So, all
Yeah.
right, we have because I started late. We have some extra time here. What question would you like us to look at next
Um,
of the ones we
let's
haven't
see.
done?
Um, I think I'm good on like the ones that we started with, like the number times another number.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to see like another like word problem like this.
We've really done them all. Let's just do number 8 and
Okay.
knock it out real quick. If this is homework, can't remember if you mentioned that. I mean, you probably need another 10, 15 minutes to finish this up.
Mhm.
I have to suss. It says, so 4 times a number minus twice another number is minus 16. The sum of the two numbers is minus 1. So I'm actually going to start with that question. Sometimes your preference is like, what's the easier one? So the sum of the two numbers, I'm going to call them x and y. X plus y is minus 1.
Mhm.
Right. Now, they kind of allude to that in the first part, which is what are the letters? So I'm going to say 4 times the number x minus twice another number y is minus 16. So in the first semester, you were kind of converting words to equations. 4 times x minus 2 times y is minus 16.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's your system.
Yep.
Okay. To solve your system, bring this down here. We're going to multiply that first equation by 2. And the reason is when we see this down here, you're going to see that the y's are going to cancel because they're opposite in sign.
Mhm.
Uh, hmm. The interesting thing here is that this doesn't seem to work out nicely, but let's keep going here. So it's 6x. Oh no, it does. 6x equals minus 18, x equals minus 3. Sorry, I was looking at something else. And then I'll just go back to that first equation there. And minus 3 plus y equals minus 1. Add 3 to both sides, and y is 2.
Yeah.